The glass trembled in her tiny hand. The crystal rim sparkled against the chandelier's glow, a million fractured lights dancing across her pale face. Everyone in the room froze. The silence was so thick, it pressed on the chest like a heavy stone. Then, her lips touched the edge, one sip slid down her throat, and what followed was nothing short of a miracle. Before I tell you what happened, let me ask you something. Do you believe in second chances? In kindness? In moments that change everything in the blink of an eye? If you do, then please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner, because together, we can keep spreading stories that heal hearts. Now, let me take you to the beginning of this unforgettable journey. She was born into a world of wealth, silk curtains, and marble halls, yet she lived in silence. Her name was Elara. The daughter of Victor Dane, one of the wealthiest businessmen in the city, Elara was mute from birth. Doctors ran countless tests, specialists flew in from abroad, but no treatment or therapy restored her voice. She grew up watching words form on the lips of others while her own remained locked in quiet despair. Her father, a man hardened by money and power, showered her with jewels and gifts, yet deep inside, he could never accept her silence. For him, silence was weakness, a flaw in an otherwise perfect life. Elara's mother had died when she was very young, leaving behind only faded perfume on silk scarves and the memory of a lullaby Elara could never hum back. Raised in a mansion filled with maids and tutors, Elara had everything, except what mattered most. She craved love, laughter, someone who saw her not as the mute daughter of a millionaire, but as a soul with unspoken songs trapped inside. As she grew older, her loneliness deepened. She would sit by the grand piano every evening, pressing the keys gently, letting the music speak the words she could not. Each note carried her pain, her longing, and her secret hope that one day, somehow, she would be free. But her father rarely noticed. He was always locked away in his office, chasing deals, building empires, as if wealth could protect him from the truth that his daughter's heart was breaking. Then came a winter evening that would change everything. Victor had arranged one of his extravagant parties, filling the house with dignitaries, investors, and politicians. Chandeliers dripped with light, laughter echoed through the marble halls, glasses clinked with champagne. Yet, in the middle of the grand celebration, Elara sat quietly in a corner, her silk dress flowing like a whisper, her eyes searching for an escape from the noise. It was then that an old family friend, a gentle woman named Clara, approached her. Clara wasn't rich, nor powerful, but she had known Elara's late mother and carried a warmth that reminded Elara of the love she had lost. Clara pressed a hand into Elara's and placed a small, ornate glass before her. Inside it was something simple, just water, infused with herbs, prepared by a healer she knew from the countryside. With kind eyes, Clara leaned close and whispered, "Sometimes healing doesn't come from medicine, but from believing." Elara looked at the glass, her hands trembling. The chatter of the party grew distant. Her heart pounded. Something within her stirred, a courage she had never felt before. She lifted the glass, her father watching with faint annoyance from across the room, and took a single sip. The moment the water touched her lips, it was as if the world itself paused. A strange warmth spread through her chest, filling her lungs, pressing against the silence that had lived inside her since birth. Her eyes widened. She gasped. And for the first time in her life, sound escaped. A broken, fragile sound, almost like a whisper of wind. But it was real. She heard herself. Tears rushed down her cheeks, falling onto the polished floor. Her father dropped his glass in shock. The crowd turned, stunned into silence, watching the miracle unfold. Elara tried again. Her voice cracked, but then, through sobs and trembling breaths, a word formed. A word she had dreamed of saying her entire life. She turned toward her father, her eyes shimmering, and whispered, "Papa." The glass slipped from Victor's hand, shattering against the marble floor. He had faced ruthless rivals, boardroom battles, and losses worth millions, but nothing had ever broken him, until that moment. His knees buckled. His heart, sealed tight for decades, shattered open. For the first time, he saw not his mute daughter, but his child, the soul who had waited all her life for his embrace. He rushed to her, falling to his knees, gathering her in his arms as tears poured down his face. The man who thought money could buy anything realized he had been bankrupt in love. In that one whispered word, his world was rebuilt. But the story didn't end there. Ilara's voice was not magically perfect. The first sip unlocked something inside her, but the journey was long. Her voice came in fragments, painful and uneven. Yet, every day, she fought. She worked with therapists, sang through broken tones, whispered lullabies to herself at night, trying to piece together the music locked inside. Her father, transformed by that miracle, never left her side again. He canceled business trips, cut down on late-night meetings, and began to sit beside her at the piano. He no longer bought her jewels to fill the silence, he gave her time, patience, and love. And in that new bond, Ilara found more strength than she had ever known. 1 year later, on the anniversary of her first word, Victor organized a very different kind of gathering. Not a lavish party, but a quiet evening filled with children from orphanages, kids who, like Ilara, carried scars the world couldn't see. They gathered in the grand hall, waiting in curiosity. Then, as the lights dimmed and silence fell, Ilara stepped forward. Her hands trembled. Her heart raced. She looked at the crowd, eyes wide, expectant, hopeful. And then, she sang. Her voice was fragile, but pure. Every note dripped with pain, resilience, and triumph. Children leaned forward, tears glistening in their eyes. Her father watched, his hands pressed together, as if he was holding the very miracle he had once thought impossible. By the time her song ended, the hall was filled with tears, but not of sorrow, of healing. Ilara had given a piece of her soul to the world, and in return, she had been given the gift of love, of belonging, of being heard at last. And so, her journey became more than just about finding her voice, it was about teaching others that silence does not mean emptiness, and brokenness does not mean the end. Sometimes, a single sip, a single moment of faith, can awaken the strength we never thought we had. If this story touched your heart today, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to Kindness Corner, and share it with someone who needs to believe in miracles again. Your engagement helps us keep spreading stories that bring hope to the world. And before we close, I have one special request for you. In the comments below, please write just one word, hope. Let's fill this space with light, and remind everyone who reads it that miracles are still possible.